Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to another session of NTEP. And today it's going to be a topic on digital marketing channels. Just before we move on, please ensure that you fill the survey form. You can find it on the description below the YouTube channel. And then after the training, please ensure you fill out the form. The training will be for 40 minutes and we'll have a 20 minutes time for questions and answers. So please use the chat box to write in your questions before the end of the session while the session is still ongoing. A very big thank you to our sponsors, Ubuntu Soft, Non-Pro Technologies, Africa's Business, and Ashumi Collections. We are really grateful, and also a big thank you to the team behind the success of this training. We really, really appreciate you all. Thank you to our mentors and our speaker. We have one speaker on mentoring on the panel with us, Ms. Osla. Thank you so much for joining in today. Once again, we're going on the session on digital marketing channels, and it will be handled by Mr. AJ Smart. Mr. AJ Smart, good to have you, and over to you.
Thank you, Jessica, and good morning, everyone. Today is our third session, and we would be taking over from where we stopped yesterday. We started with the introduction to digital marketing, and now we want to go. We have learned about what digital marketing is. We have learned compare and contrast digital marketing versus traditional way of marketing. We also asked ourselves a few questions as to why digital marketing, and we answered some of those questions, if not all. And today we will now dive a bit deeper with digital marketing channels. Digital marketing channels will take us additional 2 sessions. So that will be today and then another day, because we will need to choose some of them and give you practical strategy on how you can develop a social or a digital marketing strategy based on the channel you would be using. So let's start on. Digital marketing channels are the channels that we leverage on. These channels include website, that is content. We also have email marketing. We have SEO, that is search engine optimization, and SEM. Most people confuse this. This is search engine marketing, search engine optimization. And then we have pay-per-click, and we have affiliate marketing. We have social media marketing. We have video marketing. And one important one that is gradually coming up this day, which is voice marketing. For some of you, you're probably on apps such as Clubhouse. We have Greenhouse, Discord. There are a lot of them these days, and it's also gradually becoming a great digital marketing channel. But for the purpose of this, to make sure that you get this right, we're going to be picking just one for today, which is social media marketing. The reason is we want to ensure that you spend as much time as we can to show you around on how to do this. We don't just want to be pointing out, oh, this, and then jump to the other one. Let's take our time and develop a strategy, show you how you can develop a strategy around digital marketing. Please understand that digital marketing strategy almost remain the same across all channels, except in some cases, as we learned yesterday, that digital marketing is dynamic. It simply means in some cases, the application of the strategy might be a bit different. In this case, we would be using social media marketing. So then, what exactly is social media marketing? As I speak, I'm sure many of you already on Facebook, you are on Instagram, maybe on LinkedIn, uh, Twitter, and a whole lot of others. So then, what is social media marketing? You're already a social media consumer. So then, how do you use it for marketing? Social media marketing, which can be abbreviated as SMM, refers to the use of social media and social network to market a company's services. In most cases, even to get yourself. Since these days, we actually promote ourselves, as influencers these days. I always like to add that. So then, the social media marketing is simply leveraging on social media platforms that you are already using to promote your business. There are people that I know they like in a day, they watch like 15 videos, if not more, from other people, but they are struggling on how to sell their own product. And I wonder, why can't you start, providing people with the same content that you're already consuming from other people? So basically, that is what social media marketing. It helps you to promote your business on social media channels such as Facebook, um, Instagram. You have Twitter, LinkedIn. These are all um, social media examples. Um, you would have access to this, so you can always read through all these definitions later. I would move on so we can focus on developing a strategy around social media marketing. So then, let's talk about how exactly do you develop an effective strategy when doing social media marketing. Now, let's understand strategy. Your strategy, this step involves determining goals. That is very important. The social media channels to be used and the type of content that will be shared. Recall yesterday, we actually discussed how. Well, when we were discussing how, I recall when I mentioned that it's important to understand the problem, okay? And then you understand the person who has the problem, that is the audience, and then finally you begin to um, choose a platform where, and now that would fit in perfectly with this strategy. As you can see here, this particular step says this step involves determining your goals, the social media channel, because now you have decided that you will be using social media. And now the next thing is not all social media platforms will fit into what the kind of content you provide in most cases. So then define your goals is very important. It start with, now that you know a problem, it start with how do you want to your goals? What are your aims? Okay, what do you really want to achieve? Let me be practical about this. Do you want to go online because are you a blogger who maybe like a health blogger, for example? Someone gave this asked this question yesterday. Are you a health blogger or vlogger, that is people who produces videos on YouTube and social media platforms for to educate people and at the end of the day promote your product, or you want to go on social media to your main aim is to sell directly. So you need to define your goals and define your long term, just as it's applicable on, because please understand that this is marketing. It doesn't matter whether it's called social or digital or whatever it's called. The idea here is that the main aim is that you want to sell a service or a product. And so it's very important to define, as we learn during business planning, it's important to understand that you will need to define, even in social media, you will need to define your short time and long time goals. There are times as a social media or digital marketer that you can actually spend more than a year on the digital platforms without making a single sale. Most people drop out, but that is because they fail to define their goals. Are you going into social media to start making sales immediately, or are you going in to build a network? Are you going in to build brand awareness? Are you going in to, collect lead? Defines your goals. That is very important when developing a strategy around your social media marketing. Number one, define your goals. Number two, define your audience. Okay? You need to define who you have developed, you know the kind of products you want to sell. Okay? You know that product. And because you have identified a problem, you have identified now your goals as to whether you want to sell in the long run, or now what kind of audience now do you want to sell to? Are they women? What you're selling, is it for women? Is it people like household that like if you're selling, excuse me, food stuff, for example, then you want to define your kind of target audience, people who will be interested in buying food stuff to go cook at home. Are you selling what do you call, is it fashion like clothes, for example? You want to define, is it women or men clothes? Is it skincare? Is it for women or unisex? You need to practically define who your target audience is. Spend more time to research on your audience behaviors. Number three, that's very important. When you finish defining your audience, you want to spend time, understand how they relate with your content, with other content, because of course before you there is definitely somebody, and if not, just spend time understanding their behaviors. That is applicable in even in traditional marketing planning. So establish content calendar. You don't want to post today on social media and then vanish. That is not good. In a week at least you should be able to post twice. It's usually recommended. Don't also, it can be a disadvantage when you bombard social media with a lot of posts, on a daily basis. It can be a huge disadvantage to your audience. They get bored with it. So you want to post at least maximum, I recommend twice or three times in a day. That also depends on what social network. Um, so establish a calendar. When we reach where we would be discussing, where we will now reveal to you the digital marketing tools, you would see how you can schedule your posting in such a way that you don't have to go into every social media network to make a post. You can actually schedule posts from today up till the end of the month, and you never have to open to make that post. When the time comes, it will post itself. If you schedule in the evening, for example, the post will automatically post itself if using a social media management tool. That is usually very helpful. Um, so we'll be showing you that in the course of this training as we progress. Then content promotion and distribution, that is also very important. When you schedule, you need to properly monitor that. At some point, you may want to subscribe for pro distribution. You may want to subscribe for third-party channels for distribution, and also paid promotion as well. That will depend on your goal. And then finally, reporting and analysis. We discussed this yesterday when I mentioned that digital marketing is dynamic and it allows you to easily adjust both your budget and your target audience. And the reason is because you are easily to see the users' behaviors in real time. And so this allows you to easily adjust, um, your, if for example, it's not the post you make not performing well, you can easily adjust based on the keyword or target audience, for example, age bracket, geolocation, that is working very well. For example, if I make a post on maybe say, 50% discount on share hosting, for example, or on hosting. And some of my keyword include VPS, which is virtual private server or dedicated server, share hosting, direct admin. And over time, I realized that people were searching for cPanel hosting, share hosting, or Windows hosting. From my analytics, then I would have to focus on promoting more of Windows hosting or cPanel, because that is what people are searching for. How do I know that? By always checking the reporting via the analytics software. So now, why social media marketing? Now we have started now. So let's ask the questions here. Why social media marketing? Are you on social media to promote your products, to drive, traffic to your website, or to serve customers? Now, what I've just discussed is what we are now starting in this why manner. The thing is, define your goals. That is what this why is all about. Define your goals. So it becomes, why are you here? So you would have to answer this question to define your goals. Are you on social media to promote a product? I said this before. To increase brand awareness, to drive traffic to your website, to generate new leads. All right, I mentioned this before. To grow revenue by increasing sign-up sales, to boost brand engagement. Understand, engagement has to do with comments, likes, share. All these are part of your social media engagement. To boost brand engagement, build a community around your business. Now, one thing that is worth mentioning is building brand um, community. Once you have successfully built a community around a brand, then it becomes easy for you to make sales. It's actually become easy for you to sell without spending too much on promotion, because the community end up refer as many customers, even new customers. They end up recruit customers for you. For example, if I am searching for um, best web designing software on the internet, most cases, do you know where I'm going to see WordPress? It's not because I search for WordPress or WordPress is doing an advert. I'm going to see WordPress because someone has written an article or share it on their platform. And that is how, in most cases, I'm likely to come across WordPress. What that means is that WordPress has been able to build a large community around WordPress, and they don't have to do advertising anymore, because people are voluntarily referring, either by getting paid or just to get some sort of exposure in relationship with WordPress. That is a good example. This is applicable to Google as well. It's applicable to Microsoft and a whole lot of them. So that is how important it is. In the case of social media, if you want to engagement is usually what usually results to building a community. If you are always sending out information that people can relate to, then chances are that people would engage with your content, and over time they become part of your content, part of your business, not necessarily because they are working with you, but because each time you make a post, they find it useful and they relate to it, and they find it very difficult to do away with you. And that is a very good way to build a community. So then next is provide social customer service. For example, Nomfro, one of our major goal for being on social media is to provide customer service to our customers. Not on all the social media we use them for getting customers, because Twitter, for example, you hardly sell hosting on Twitter, but most customers are on Twitter, and care is not taken is the easiest way they will always go to express their dissatisfaction. So you don't want to stay away from those kind of platforms. Whether you are using it to make sales or not, if you need to provide, if you are concerned with customer service, then definitely this could be also a reason, part of why you want to jumpstart on social media. increase mention in the process. Of course, when you are on social media, when your name or your company name, excuse me, when your company name or brand name is mentioned, definitely that is usually attributed to you thanks to that social media feature, which allows, and the more you get mentioned on social media, the more you actually get exposure. And if you are being mentioned for the good reasons, then you are very sure that this would eventually increase your brand awareness and brand reputation. So, why are you coming to social media? Develop a goal, define your why. That is the first question to ask. Why are you coming on social media? Is it for brand visibility, to connect, to build brand awareness? Why are you coming to social media? And as you can see by the left hand side, we have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, we have Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Of course, Google Plus these days is no longer there, but it's just what I'm mentioning as well. So the next thing, of course, I'm now going through this strategy in details. Remember, this is the who is your target. We've mentioned this. Define your audience. Who is your target audience? In terms of defining target audience, you want to look at their incomes level, you want to look at their interest, what are they interested in, you want to look at their location, you want to look at the age bracket, you want to look at gender, you want to look at occupation, you want to look at values, you want to look at opinions. These are ways to segment your customers, your target audience, and you are able to define and segment what audience is fit for what content and what audience is really a fit for your own kind of um, content. So, for example, if I am doing an advert or making a post and I want to make it a target post for hosting services, I'm most likely to use interest and location and age. Gender is okay. I will still target gender, but all. Occupation, I might also use that for. So let me give you a practical example. I'm selling web hosting, which is business to business. So I'm most likely interested in business people and also web developers. Okay, so let's start with interest. I would target people who have searched for web digital marketing, people who have searched for web hosting, people who have searched for maybe Linux, WordPress hosting, cPanel hosting. Those are keywords. I'm being practical so you understand how this works. And the next thing is location. Where do I want people to see my ad? I would pick the location, maybe Nigeria and add other African countries. If I want it worldwide, I can do that. Age bracket. I definitely don't want to target people usually between the age of 18 and 25. It's not a bad idea, but to be on a safer side, I would stop from 25 and above. Gender, women and men. Occupation, I will start from business managers, small business owners, and so forth and so on. Occupation, of course, small business owners, you would have a lot to choose from. Okay, I already mentioned that. And then values, usually this is I'm not interested, doesn't matter what you believe in. You're most welcome. You can buy a hosting and build whatever you want to build in. Opinion is your opinion. You're welcome. So that is how you can be practical. If you are making an art that is political or religious, for example, then you are very sure you would have to pay attention to values and opinion because here comes in how people view life and otherwise you will find your art being flagged or your post being flagged by a lot of people who may not be interested in the kind of things you're promoting. So basically that is that. Now another example, let's use fashion for example. If I'm selling clothes for the benefit of Ashley's collection. So let's say at Ashley's collections, we are selling women fashion, for example, and we are targeting. So I would be interested in incomes level. That is very important because this is clothes. But for incomes level for clothes, almost everybody can afford it. Okay, since Facebook or most social media target adult, which is 18 and above, so then you will do fine with from 18 and above. I will be fine with that. Interest, I'll be fine with whoever is searching for clothes. But there is one thing when you reach search engine optimization, you will see how we use keywords. Okay. Now, when using keyword, please understand sometimes long tail keyword works very well. For example, if I want to say in this case, if I just put fashion, it can be a terrible idea because most people who are searching for fashion does not necessarily mean they want to buy. Some people are just searching for articles, and I'm not posting an article on fashion. I want to sell. So if my goal is to sell, then definitely I want to put women's clothes for sale. That is a long tail keyword, and so you want to make sure that you pick your keyword carefully, so you don't end up attract the wrong audience for your post or your ad. We have so that is interest, and then we have location. If you are selling clothes, for example, and I have to deliver to a specific location, then it means I would have to be careful where I picked. If I post the ad to run nationwide, and I know I can only provide delivery within Abuja, for example, then that would be a terrible idea because at the end of the day, I would end up with audience that I cannot fulfill their orders, and that would mean spending more and getting less on return on investment. So then age bracket, we've already mentioned this. Then gender, age bracket, you can start from 18 and above for clothes, for fashion. Uh, Gender, of course, for um, this is women clothes, so I would pick women, and I'll be fine with that. Occupation, I definitely would, to be on the safer side, I would want to pick from managers and all that. But in most cases, you will still add because most students actually buy. It also, please note, it also depends on what kind of clothes you are selling. If you are selling something that you know people will need, if you are selling hijab, for example, or you are selling wrappers that most cases people will use for occasion and for church services, or you are selling clothes that are mainly for church or hijab, then you want to be, or for the benefit of other religion, this no religious sentiment here. I'm just giving an example so you understand. You don't want to go and target everybody because they won't buy, because definitely that's not something they are interested in. That case, you would want to have to select carefully. Then values. If you're selling like someone who is you're promoting church or hijab or any cloth that is religiously or has some kind of value attached to it, then you want to, when I say values, I'm not talking about monetary value. I'm talking about so life value as to what people believe. I'm talking about belief here. So you want to make sure their opinions about life and beliefs and all that. You want to make sure you pay attention to that. Otherwise, I would be good to go. So then let's go to the book. You say understanding your target audience would help you easily answer the following questions on what, where, when you are going to share, and we have talked about that. So, who are your target audience? Their age, gender, salary, location. We mentioned that. What are they interested in? What you can provide. For example, entertainment, education, content, case study, information on new products. Please understand that. Where do they usually hang out online? Is it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Telegram, or on LinkedIn? You will need to understand that as well. So, why do they consume the content? To get better at their job, to become healthy, to stay up to date with something. So, you need to define this. If your most of the audience you are targeting are people who like information, in most cases you will be looking at Twitter. You want to drop gossip at all times, drop hints at all times, latest development. If you are looking at audience that are looking to get better jobs tips, then you probably want to look at LinkedIn. I'm being practical so you understand how this works. So that is just how these work. Then how do they consume the content? Read social media posts, videos. You need to also understand, is it most of your audience prefer to read, they prefer to watch, they prefer to see, like in terms of pictures, videos, or audience don't behave the same. Please understand that there are people who are very good on Twitter, but when you go to Facebook, they are not there. And I'll give you a good example. I'm a digital marketing expert, but I spend less time on my personal profile on Facebook. I only use it to connect with people within my cycle, except for business profile and promoting our partners' businesses on social media. But for my personal profile, at least for now, as long as my strategy is not to promote myself as individual, then I would have less interest in promoting my personal branding on places like Facebook, for example. But if you go to LinkedIn, you will see that I pay too much attention on my profile on LinkedIn. And that is simple because you would have to define your goal. I want to connect with businesses. I want to connect with business people. I want to learn about businesses. I want to understand how they interact, how they relate. So this is all part of how you define who is your audience and make sure you are there when they need you. Right. Next, what are you going to share? Now, Facebook educational videos and podcasts, Instagram, here you have photos, Pinterest, of course, infographics or photos, Twitter, of course, gossip, news, basically blogs. LinkedIn, jobs, professional content, including business news and updates. And I've just said this. So, what are you going to share? Is your content going to be in video? So, this is where a good understanding for target audience would be helpful. Look at your marketing personas and consider the following: what goal and challenges do they have? How can you help solve it? So you must have, once you have understand your audience, you know their problem, and now the idea now is what can you share? All right. So I am a medical consultant or I'm a farmer, and I realize that most busy women and men in Abuja don't have time to go to the market. And I'm in my village, so I'm talking to you right now, and I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to start an e-commerce that will be providing them not only the product, but also to provide an add-on. I'm giving someone a free business idea. And if after by next year, by this time, if I don't see someone doing this business, then my prayers with you guys. This is a free business idea for you. I hope this helped you. I'm going to start an e-commerce, and not just an e-commerce, but also with add-ons because most of these people are busy. And so I want to recruit bikes and keke napeps. That is tuk-tuk for those for the benefit of those from other countries. In Nigeria, we call it keke. In other countries, it's usually known as tuk-tuk, and that is a tricycle in English. So, or bike, okada, or boda boda, whatever you call it. I'm going to recruit them to be my delivery guys and also include taxi guys to sign up as delivery guys. And then I'm going to recruit service providers also to add on this business model. Not only would you be able to order yam and vegetable, you would also get someone who will pick up and deliver it to you and cut it. And if need be, they will prepare the soup and keep it for you and cook for you if you want to. So that is a free tip. You are welcome to check me out if you need a personal consultancy to know how you can go about that. You are most welcome. That is how far I can give you that kind of free tip, right? So basically, that is a great way to solve that problem. So if I do that, then I have my website now. Now my aims now would be to drive traffic to that website, because we're talking about social media. So how do I do that? So what I'm going to do is to educating people on how you can really get a cook, not only a cook, but how you can actually save time, focus on your work and your kids, and then you get someone. Just go to our website and click and order for. Someone is going to pick up your yam, pick up your vegetable, pick up the meat for you. Everything is listed. They will just click and click and click, and also add as an add-on and say order for a cook or maybe a professional service provider as an add-on. And all these people, they will just pick up all your orders, and then the service provider will just come direct to your house once it's delivered, to prepare your meal for you. So I don't have to sell this to them. I just have to focus on writing articles, getting videos like this, and sharing and showing them how they can live a life stress-free, save time and money from all after a stressful day, how they can actually save time by having this kind of. So what I have done is I have identified a problem that they are suffering from. The next thing, I've identified how to solve it, and now the next thing, I have identified what content to solve their problem with. Now the next thing would be, how do I share it, right? So let's move on. So where am I going to share that kind of content? That's the next question, and we'll continue with the example I just gave. Now we have a whole lot of them here. We have identified a website, and we said we'll create an e-commerce, and now we want to create a blog. Definitely, you want people to read in details how it really works. So in this kind of content, definitely you need a blog to be writing posts. You can share on Facebook, will be doing great in written form. Facebook will do great if you have videos that talks about how this platform can help people. You don't have to, in the beginning, you don't have to mention the business name at all, because that would be like marketing or promotion. Just start up and explain to people how they can live as life stress-free. Give them information that will really solve their problem. And at the end of the day, introduce them to your platform where they can actually buy from. And they won't have a problem, buying, because after all, you have provided them details, explanation, and now they are convinced. So remember, you see, there is difference between marketing and sales, and I think that's where a lot of people. It's important to always define your goals, as we have mentioned. Are you marketing? In most cases, marketing does not mean you are closing sales. It could mean you will sell in the next 10 years, in the next 2 years, in the next 2 months. Okay. Dangote, one of the Africa's richest man, did not start um, selling immediately, and most of the sales he's making now, he actually done the marketing years back. We are, as human, we are attracted to success, yes, but you as a business, as an entrepreneur, as a startup, it's important to understand the power of marketing. The marketing actually helps you prepare for in the next 2, 3, 5 years to come. Sales focus on what you can sell right now, and it's important for you to understand that. So it's important to provide people with useful information before you start selling to them. That usually helps you collect lead, and in most cases helps you sell immediately. So where do you want to share this kind of? So we have identified a website that is a blog, and we have said share on Facebook. On Facebook, you can share on what is it called? You can share on LinkedIn as well, because you have serious business people there. Definitely, they will be happy to. You have busy people there. Recall when we're talking about understanding your audience, so they will definitely be happy to have that kind of information. You can use infographics on Pinterest as well, because this will help you to give people data of numbers of people who are living a stressful life just because they don't have that kind of opportunity. And there is a whole lot of others examples that you can use. Just make sure you define your audience very well. And now, in the case of clothes, then you want to probably which platform are your target audience mostly active? What makes them visit the platform? Certain platform leads itself well to certain content type. For example, photos are great on Instagram. I mentioned that. Long form videos on YouTube, articles on Medium. That Medium obviously is also a blogging platform. So it's important to define, understand where to share your audience based on why your audience are in a particular platform. So a great platform for clothes would be Instagram, Facebook, because you'll be sharing photos and video. Facebook videos do well on Facebook, but what you don't want to do is share long videos on Facebook. The Facebook users are the most impatient users you will ever find when it comes to videos. In fact, they will not watch. And no wonder Facebook came up with the Reels, because it gives you short videos. And you realize that when you post a Reel, people relate to it more than they will relate to a long video. Just try that and you will see. So you can share both on video and post on Facebook. In terms of fashion, make simple videos of your collections, snap professional photos of your collection, and please, this one is a personal advisor. Don't be like some people actually kill their market. You see, what you order versus what you get can kill business, especially if you're doing marketing. Don't get a nice font. Most people, like I mentioned yesterday, will just be focusing on getting a phone and then they forget about the product. I will be taking additional 1 or 2 minutes and then we round up because I think we'll be taking questions. So, where are you going to share? I've given you example for fashion. Instagram would be great place to share. When are you going to share? The last part of your strategy is to figure out when you want to share. Please understand what time your audience spend on Facebook, understand what time they spend on Twitter, what time they spend on LinkedIn. You want to take your time and study how and what time they spend there, and you will know exactly when there are many there, so you can share um, your post. And from my end, that will be it for today session. So over to you, Jessica. If there are questions, I would be happy to take.
Thanks to AJ for the wonderful presentation. I'm currently not seeing any questions. So please, if you have any question, you can drop in your questions now so that Mr. Smart can answer them. Thank you. And also, I'm seeing questions on the link for the survey. If you just look down on the description, I think on some it might say click on more. Just click on the more, and then you will see link for the session survey. So click on that link and then the form. Thank you very much. And a thank you to all our sponsors once again, Ubuntu Soft, Africa's best non-food technologies, and as Ashley's collection. Okay, I'm seeing a question from Eitayo, and the question is, please, what activities can an e-commerce platform do to increase their domain authority? I don't think it's relating to marketing, but Mr. J, will you
Yeah.
answer that?
Yes, you said what can an e-commerce platform do to increase what?
Their domain authority.
To increase domain authority. I would wonder, your domain authority usually would depend on the credibility that you have built on social media, one, partners as well, also how and who is relating to your content in relation to what kind of company is quoting or talking about your brand. That usually goes a long way in terms of building domain authority, because building domain authority usually has a lot to do with backlinks. That is one. Then secondly, how many people talking about your brand? How far have you been able to build a community around your brand? And what is the quality of the kind of community you have been able to build around your brand? That is usually what usually would add up to you having a good domain rating. So it's all about how the internet perceived your brand. So it's all about building brand trust. Once you can build that, for example, if you are quoted by a well-established individual who is well known on the internet, and the person is well known for good reasons, then chances are, even if it's social media mentioned, as long as your name has been mentioned or your company brand has been mentioned, and then you now have a company mentioning you or your link, on their website, and that company, for example, let's talk of, if you, I don't know where you're coming from, but if you are coming from Kenya, then let's say you have Standard Media quoting you, you have BBC quoting you, you have Punch newspaper or Vanguard and the rest quoting you in their media houses. Basically, you have trusted uh, media houses or trusted businesses quoting you to kind of affiliate themselves with you. Definitely, that usually will skyrocket your business domain rating immediately. So, but I'm not sure why domain rating will really be a problem for an e-commerce, because if you have spent much time to build a communities of buyers, or I would say a communities of loyal customers around your business, then I will be very sure that those customers will be able to earn you what you are looking for without spending a penny. Because at the end of the day, you have customers as journalists, you have customers as influencers. Then over time, they would be the one talking about you, and you would automatically build domain authority. You probably will learn more about this on search engine optimization. I hope I was able
Yes,
to answer your question.
I believe so. Thank you, Mr. AJ. A question from Francis, and it reads out: as a startup, you have a lot to do to market your product. You have government regulators and etc. When you have limited amount of fund, then the question is, how do you go about this?
That is a good question. I'm not sure if your question it really relates to social media marketing or digital, but I think it's important I answer this question. When you talked about um, government regulations, please let's understand that when you are starting a business, it's very important to do what we call business planning. We already talked about that. And you know that part of your business planning research actually includes government regulations. Apart from government regulations, there are industry standards that are not necessarily being enforced by government agencies, but also by your fellow competitors who are already an association that you would have to follow. So it's important to always put this thing in consideration. So I do not see an entrepreneur who have identified a problem that his or her competitors have failed to solve, and I do not see that kind of entrepreneurs who is willing to solve that problem, thinking of government regulations as a major problem that will stop you. Although these are problems, even as I speak to you, to all of us, no businessman or woman would not want government to just relax regulations and not having anything in place. But the truth is, let's at some point give it to the government. Without the government, there will be no rules and there will be no rule of law. And including you, you won't be able to do business because your competitor that you are entering the business would have carteled the industry and there is nothing you can do about it. So to answer your question, government regulations are always going to be there. Your business or your responsibility is to study and understand how to navigate. I think it's also part of your risk analysis and management You need to understand what kind of government regulations can actually hinder your business growth and understand how you can navigate through those regulations. And if there are licenses you required, I mean, in most African countries, to be honest, I do know that most of us started businesses before the government start asking us questions. We're already business people, and we already have started earning money before the government start asking us questions. So it's not like if you were asking me these questions from Europe or North America, I would probably answer you differently. But if it's from Africa, then I would think you would, if you are just starting, then honestly, government regulations shouldn't stop you. You talk of finance, we'll be talking about how to assess finance for your business in the course of this training. We have a speaker that will be dealing with that. But before then, one thing I want us to understand is if the first thing you think about when starting a business is money, then I would give your business 2 years maximum lifespan. It's not going to survive. But if your own survive, then you have my contact. Come back, let's talk. It will not survive, especially in this continent, in Africa. If the first thing you think about is how do I get money, it will not survive. You see, Africa has a lot of problems, and what we need is people who can solve the problem. So think the problem first. If you have the problem, which I assume you already have, you want to solve, then start small. Yesterday I mentioned keep it real. You see, keep it real means that start solving the problem at your own level. Don't try to become like your competitors overnight, because that's where this problem of money always comes in. Nomfro did not start last year. We didn't start last year. We have a story. There is always a story behind every successful business, and there is a process that you would have to follow. So my conclusion on your question would be regulations, you can avoid them, but develop a risk management tool to navigate government regulations, not to disobey them, no, but to be able to meet up with the regulations. That is number one. Number two, talking about financing, you would have to start with what you can afford. And if you need to source for finance, if you are very sure that your business has grown to the level you need funds to grow, then we will be showing you that in the course of the session that will take how to assess finance for your business. Basically, I think that would be my answer for your question. I hope I was able to answer that.
Thank you, Mr. AJ. Another question by Daniel is on LinkedIn, how can I market my agricultural products?
I'm not sure why your question is on LinkedIn because if you learn anything from what I just said, I said the training said defines your audience, understand. First, yesterday we said understand the problem they have, and I think you understand that by asking that question. Now, understand your audience. Now, when you finish understanding your audience, I would expect you to understand where your audience is. So, part of developing a strategy around your content or your business is a social media strategy is to understand where is your audience. In this case, what kind of agricultural produce do you sell? Are people who are going to buy your product, are they on LinkedIn? If they are on LinkedIn, because you say agricultural produce, I have no idea what kind of product. You have to be specific. Are you talking about B2B raw materials? If yes, then LinkedIn is perfect because most of them, there are manufacturers on LinkedIn. And if you're able to, so let's use cotton wool or wheat, for example, that is used for as raw materials, right? Or maybe cocoa, for example. What I would suggest you do is you build a professional LinkedIn profile for your company on LinkedIn, and then make sure to be posting useful information on your page. Now, this useful information should not just rely on inviting people to come by. No. So focus on posting information on how cocoa or what is it called, or cotton or any other product or wheat can impact the user, which is a B2B. share information about that. While you do that, you can spend more time to target individuals LinkedIn. Check for their profiles, look for people who you realize that you see that they are into production, of the kind of finished product of the raw materials you sell. Target them, reach out to them, and introduce yourself politely. And please don't start with direct sales. Just introduce yourself and introduce the kind of what you have. From Africa, I would think it would be a great way if it's cotton, for example. You would want to tell people would not expect that you have much of it here. So if you are from Nigeria, where the production has declined massively, then you want to introduce to someone and tell them that actually you are in production of that kind of service here. And I'm sure most people will be curious to learn about it. So be informative about it, not promoting direct. But of course, you're welcome to also use LinkedIn advert to promote that. But I will first recommend you start with making posts on how your agricultural products can make their life easier. That would be my answer. I hope I answered that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. AJ. Question by Faisal. What do you see as the most important trend or development in the digital marketing landscape in the coming years? And how do you think businesses should prepare for these changes?
Hmm. And I think that's a very good question. I think I mentioned this yesterday about um, what do you call about relationship. Over time, we are gradually building communities around digital platforms, and gradually people are accepting these platforms. And as we gradually find ways to make them more safer, people are gradually becoming more safer on these digital platforms. So I see it becoming one of the major evolution would be the coming of the Web3, which is going to change the entire way we see social and digital platforms. Whether Web3 becomes what most people, and when I say Web3, please forgive me, I'm not saying it in a way people blockchain and NFTs, people will start telling you. I'm approaching Web3 on a professional digital marketer perspective. It simply means we are going virtual. Over time, we would have to be, just the way we are talking now, it's actually part of how Web3 is picking up. We don't have to be chatting voice note, and now we have this virtual and feeling of togetherness. So what I'm simply trying to say is what the major changes we should expect as businesses is the way people are gradually accepting relationships on digital platform, which means that the way you can prepare for this is to focus on building community around your brand on the internet. Build a community around your brand. You don't want people to feel to have you look like an alien on the internet, on the web, on digital platform. Build a community around your platform. This will help you to prepare for what is it to come, because you want to make people feel like they are part of what you're selling. They are part of your brand, and your brand is not just out to sell, but it's out to take care of their very today and daily need. Basically, that is what I can advise you to do. The simple answer to your question: build a community around your brand. What changes are we expecting? The major changes we are expecting is the fact that people are gradually seeing social media as a part of daily life, and so relationship is becoming a key need for people on social media. So basically, I think based on answering your question in relation to social media, that's what I can answer you. I hope that helped.
Thank you, Mr. AJ. I think due to time, taking our last two questions. There's a question from Tevoko and it reads, for a business to business service, which social media platform can I advertise my business?
A business to business kind of product or service is not, I don't think you are not being, you have to be specific, because the fact that it's business to business does not mean that you will just look for where business people are, because beyond just occupation, you still have interest to deal with. So is it business to business kind of product that people on LinkedIn will be interested in, or Instagram or Twitter? If, for example, I sell, I produce content for bloggers, then I would not even see LinkedIn as a major. I'll probably be on Twitter. In as much as most people believe that LinkedIn will be the best place, but you don't want to miss interest as well. So, but if you are into human resource, then you're probably looking at LinkedIn. So it's not about B2B. It's actually about your product and your audience in the first place. So you would first need to define who are your target B2B customers and where can you find them.
Thank you, Mr. AJ, for that answer. The last question is from Naomi, and the question is for the startup companies who have prototypes, how can they reach on digital marketing?
A startup company that is into prototype, the person want to know how can they take advantage of or leverage on digital platform. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
When I would assume when in this case, is it a fashion designer or what kind of prototype do you develop? Are you into pattern or what kind of prototype do you develop? Is it business ideas prototype or software prototypes? I think that all this, usually, if you are able to be specific when asking your question, then I'll be able to address your question properly. Um, it will still depend on what kind of prototype are you developing. Then the next thing is who, because in this case you are dealing with business to business. So the prototype you are developing are the people who need that kind of business, who are into that kind of service. Are they in LinkedIn? Are they on Facebook? Are they on, for example, if it's fashion prototype, for example, most fashion business owners are on Instagram, right? So you see, this can be conflicting. If you pick part of the training and you don't relate it to the other part, then you are definitely going to get it wrong. It's important to one, understand your audience, and even though you understand their their interest, you still need to understand their, what do you call, you also need to understand their geolocation, and you also need to understand, just go through the strategy and understand first in relation to your, every strategy has to be developed to fit into the product or service that you provide. Basically, that is the simple answer I can give you. It's all about your product, but the only way you can take advantage and sell this, the question, can you sell? Yes. How can you do it? By leveraging on this training that we have already given you. Take advantage of it. I hope this training will help you to understand how you can take advantage of this new platform to sell. You can actually do that, but take advantage of this strategy that I've already shared to be able to develop a strategy around your prototype service or product. Over to you, Jessica.
All right, much, Mr. AJ, for the answers. A big thank you to our mentor, Miss Osla, who is on stage with us. Thank you for your presence. And thank you to all our sponsors, Ubuntu Soft, Non-Phone Technologies, a shoe collection, and Africa's business. A big thank you to the team behind the success of this training. So AJ has any last, Mr. AJ?
Okay. Yes, I'm here. All right. For from me, I would just say thank you to everyone who are joining. We hope that this was useful, and I hope you find this useful. And as you go on to your daily activities, hopefully you will find this useful as you begin to implement this strategy to be able to promote your businesses or services. So, from me, I would say have a great day and wish you all the best as you go on with your day. That would be it from me. Jessica, over to you.
All right. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. We hope to see you again tomorrow.